Hello, good morning, everybody. So today we'll talk about unit activity and discussion from Unit 1 kinematics. Okay, that is our goal for today. Let me go to the next slide. Okay, so the objective for this unit activity is to utilize all of your knowledge that you gained from Unit 1 kinematics, and using that knowledge, now you should be able to investigate and analyze different measurements, make observation and analyze results. So that is our goal. And then you can go through different objectives here. So I'll not go through it. You can go through it on your own. Now let's go to the next slide. So here, so after that, in this unit activity, you will have three different tasks. Task 1, task 2, and task 3. Okay. Now your goal is to complete all those tasks, okay, without leaving any parts. So let's start with task 1, that is analyzing complex motion. To begin your activity, opens this tracker car round trip. Okay, so let me go back and then, oh, sorry, let me go back and then I'll share this one. Okay, let's go and find that tracker activity. Okay, now I'll click that car round trip. Okay, and then I'll explain all those graphs and table from there. Okay. Whenever you click on that, let me see, car round trip tracker experiment, you will see this in window. Okay, once you see this window, you should be able to play around and pull out all the information you will be needed. Okay, let's start with uh, that car round trip. When I click on that play button, I can see that car moves forward and then it stops and then it again reverse back and then stops. And then for entire period of time, you can see three different graphs here. First one is position versus time, or you think like displacement versus time. Second one is velocity versus time. That X means horizontal component of velocity or horizontal velocity, and acceleration versus time. And here you can see the table for, let me see, this table for time, position, velocity, and acceleration. Okay, now let's go back to our question and try to solve all different parts. Okay, we are here. We'll go back and forth. Okay, describe what you see in video. I think you can describe what you see in your video. Okay, this question is easy. Now let's go to second one. Okay, in part B, you have to be a little bit specific. Okay, based on a velocity graph, you have to split your motion of split the motion of the car in different time sections. Okay, different time periods. Okay, now let me go to the graph again and explain how can you split the motion graph in different sections. So let me go back. Okay, let's go back here. So you can see here in the beginning, the car is at rest and then its velocity, or you can think like speed, increases. And then again, its speed decreases from around 5 point something to nearly 0. And then here the velocity becomes 0. And then velocity increases in a negative direction. Okay, -1. And then finally it becomes constant. So if you, let's check out from the table as well. At t is equal to 0, we don't have velocity is 0, 0 0.2, 0 0.13. You can see here the velocity is increasing and it increases to all the way 5.27. No, not sorry, 5.31. So from 0 to 4.6 second. And after that, the velocity decreases and nearly becomes 0 at around 7.2 second. Around 7.2 second, it becomes 0 actually. and 7.2 to around 7.8 seconds, the velocity becomes 0. After that, again, velocity started to increase in a negative direction. Okay. And then it keeps increasing and then becomes maximum at 13.2 seconds. There's negative 3.10. After that, you can see that from 13.4 to 15.8 seconds, the velocity is nearly constant. It's still decreasing little bit, but we can ignore that one. So this is this part. Okay. So in that way, we can break the graph in different time sections. Okay, different time section. Let's go back here. So we can see that here. So from 0.2 to 4 seconds, increasing speed in a positive direction. So in that way, we can describe the motion of the car. And then 4.6 to 7.2 seconds, decreasing in speed in positive direction. Let's check it out, that one, okay? So you can explain in that way, okay, in part B. 7.2 to 7.8 seconds, speed is 0. Let's make sure. 7.2 to 7.8. 7.2 to 7.8, you can see here speed is 0. Okay, speed is 0. So in that way, you can explain motion of the car for different time period. Okay, and here at the end, 11.0 to 15.8 seconds, roughly constant speed in a negative direction. So you can pick those time periods. Okay, time period for your reference and describe the motion of the car for that specific time period. So after that, okay, we'll go to part C. Now for each time period, so that means you'll use again same time period. Okay, sorry, let me make it bigger. For each time period, look at the graph X and then Vx, that is your X is your displacement, Vx is your horizontal velocity, or I'll simply call it velocity, and acceleration. And then you have to briefly explain what's happening for each of those uh, for each of those time periods. Okay, and then you can pick exactly same time period that we used before. So let me go back. So at first 0.2 to 4.6 seconds. So let's do that one. Let me get my pen. 0.22 time period is here. 0.2 to 4.6 seconds. Okay. Now you will have to go back to the displacement, velocity, acceleration, and the time. That table that has all those quantities. Okay. So let me go back to that table and let's look how the displacement look like, velocity and acceleration. I'll keep it and then let's go back. Okay, 0.2 to 4. Let me see, 4.6. Yeah. So 0.2 is here, 4.6. So you can see that your position is, the displacement is positive and then it's in a forward direction. You can write that one, 4.6. Okay. Let's look to the velocity. Velocity at the beginning it was 0 and it started to increase. Yep, all the way to 4.6. It started to increase. And then acceleration. So acceleration is increasing and then it's decreasing as well. So just write acceleration is positive throughout the time. Okay. Okay, so let's fill out that one. Okay, displacement. I'll write displacement is positive. Positive. And direction is forward. Okay, direction, displacement is positive. You can write another bullet. Direction is forward. forward like that. Velocity and displacement. If displacement is increasing, you can go back and check. You can write displacement is increasing. Velocity is increasing and positive, increasing and positive, and positive, positive, and acceleration is positive. Acceleration is positive, positive. Now that is for 0.2 to 4.6 second. Now we'll go back. Okay, now you have to write for 4.6 to 7.2 seconds. So 4.6 to, let's go here, 4.6 to 7.2 seconds. You have to write the description of displacement, velocity, and acceleration for 4.6 to 7.2 second. And again, 7.2 to, go back, 7.8 second, 7.8 second, and so on. Okay, you have to write 7.8 to which time, 7.8 to 11 second, and 11.0 to 15.8 second. For each of those time period, briefly describe displacement, velocity, and acceleration. Okay, that is all about part C. Now let's go to part task 2. So in this task 2, we'll use the concept of interpolation and extrapolation. So you will need to have the tracker file car round trip. We'll use exactly same car round trip experiment. And then first in part A, you have to record some of the data from the table. So let me write it here. It's given. Record your measured value of, you can see here, measured values of displacement and velocity for time is equal to 8 seconds, time is equal to 10 seconds. Okay, in the column below. So we'll write that one. And then again, use the measured displacement and velocity. Time is equal to 7 seconds, time is equal to 9 seconds. So basically we are writing measured values for displacement and velocity for time 7, 8, 9, and 10 seconds. Okay, and using those 7 and 9 seconds, interpolate the values of displacement and velocity for t, velocity at t is equal to 8 seconds. So for that t is equal to, for t is equal to 8 seconds, we have to find out displacement and velocity again using interpolation. Okay, using interpolation. How do we do that one? So, okay, I'll go through that one later. Okay, so for 8 seconds, let me write it here. At t is equal to 8 seconds, you will have two values. One is from your table, another one is using interpolation. Okay, using interpolation. For that, you have to modify this equation. Okay, you have to modify this equation. Okay, this one is your point slope form equation, or think like linear equation. You have to modify this linear equation. So let us suppose if we are calculating, displacement and you have x in your y-axis and t is in your x-axis, then we'll modify this equation as, you will replace your y by x1 minus x0, and x by t. You can see here t1 minus t0 times x is your time, t minus t0. You will modify in that way. And then using those 2 points, t is equal to 7 seconds and 9 seconds, you will get 2 points, x0, y0, x1, y1. No, t0, sorry. Those 2 points are t0, you will get 2 points, t0, x0, t1, x1. Okay, so you will substitute those 2 points here, and at t is equal to 7 seconds. No, t is equal to not 7, it's 8 seconds, sorry. T is equal to 8 seconds. calculate X. So that would be the goal whenever you need to calculate your displacement and velocity at t is equal to 8 seconds. Similarly, when you want to calculate velocity at t is equal to 8 seconds using interpolation, you will modify this equation in that way. You will replace your v versus t graph. That would be easier. Here your velocity is your dependent variable and time is your independent variable. So you'll replace your y with velocity. And then y is your v1 minus v0. And then t1 minus t0, p1 minus p minus t0. And similarly, you will calculate your velocity at t is equal to 8.0 seconds. But that part is you have to modify this equation only when you are calculating using interpolation. Let's go to the next part. Okay, here now you have quantity, displacement, and velocity. So we are using time 7, 8, 9, and 10 seconds. So let's do like that. Where is? Give me 1 second. Okay. T is equal to, I'll write 7 seconds. T is equal to 8 seconds. T is equal to 9 seconds. T is equal to 10 seconds. And those all values are, I'll write measured, okay? Measured values from the table, measured values. And then also you have to get those values, okay? Measured. But we have to find another value at t is equal to 8 seconds. That is from interpolation. T is equal to 8 seconds. All right, interpolated. And to find that value, you have to use those two equations. Now let's find displacement and velocity. So at t is equal to 7 seconds. Okay, let me minimize it. Okay, I'll keep it. Okay. Let's go back to the graph again. Graph and then table. Now t is equal to 7 seconds, sorry. 7, 8, 9. So okay, t is equal to 7 seconds. Displacement is, you can see from here, 19.08. Velocity is 0.06. 19.08 and then 0.06. So let's write that one. 19.06 and then 0.06. Okay, let me go back again. I just got confused. 7, okay, 19.08. Let me write it here. 19.08 and then 0.06. And then for 8 seconds, you can see here for 8 seconds is 19.08 negative 0.06. 08 negative 0.06. In that way, you can find velocity, displacement and velocity from the table. Okay, and then let's write it here. Does well. So displacement is 19.08 for 7 and 8 seconds, 19.08. You don't have to write units. It's already written here, 19.08. Velocity is your 0.06, negative 0.06. Similarly, you can calculate that value for 9 and 10. And then for t is equal to 8 seconds, you have to use the formula that I have described earlier. Okay. So in that way, you can complete this part. Now in this part B, whenever you calculate your interpolated or extrapolated value, you found that they are not even close to actual values for the displacement and velocity. Now you have to write your assumption why those values are, why the extrapolated values are not even close to the recorded values. You have to write your description. So whenever we use interpolated to calculate, whenever we use interpolation and extrapolation, in our case, we used linear approximation. Okay, we used linear approximation. I'll write in a short form here. We use linear approximation. Oops. Linear approximation. Linear approximation. But the displacement versus time graph as well as velocity versus time graph, they are not linear. Okay, they are not linear. So that is the reason whenever we use interpolation and extrapolation, we did not get the readings that are from the table, or we did not get the close readings that are from the table. Sorry. Or you can think like that. We use linear approximation so that our interpolated and extrapolated values at t is equal to 8 seconds are different than measured values. You can explain in that way. That is all about part B. Now in task 3, we'll talk about two bodies in a free fall. Okay, we'll talk about two bodies in a free fall, and then again you will have a tracker experiment for two different bodies. One body will be small, another body will be large. Okay, let me go through part A at first, and then we'll go to part B, part C in succession. So in part A, we have imagine that two balls, a basketball and a much larger exercise ball, are dropped from a parking garage. If both the mass and radius of the exercise ball are 3 times larger than the mass and radius of basketball, okay, which of the two balls do you think will reach the ground first? Make a hypothesis below and describe your reasoning. So you have to make your hypothesis and explain your reasoning. So that means, so you do have one small ball, that is your basketball, and then another one is your larger ball, that is your exercise ball. Right, exercise ball, basketball. And then let me read the question again. So the both are dropped from the same height. Which one will hit the ground first? That is the question. Make your hypothesis. Okay. So you can think about what will happen if there is air friction and what will happen if there is no air friction. So you can choose one of those condition and then describe, and then make your hypothesis and describe your reasoning. Okay. So that is all about part A. Okay, now in part B, okay. So let me read that question at first, and then we'll go through tracker experiment. Okay. For the ball drop to experiment, observe the graph of the vertical displacement of the small ball against time. Okay, let me write that one. So we were working on vertical displacement of the small ball against time. What can you say about the vertical displacement of the small ball? So vertical displacement, we are talking about vertical displacement. What graph shape is this? What does this shape tell you about the mathematical relationship between y and t? So you have to open the tracker experiment for small ball and then explain those questions. Okay, now let me go back again. Okay. So we are here, go back. We don't need that information. Okay, unit activity. So we have already completed those parts. Okay, now we are here in two bodies in a free fall. Okay, let me go and open the track. Okay, we didn't need this one. I'll just close it so that we'll not have any confusion. This one we'll need this, and then larger ball drop. Okay, that's the only thing we need. So is this small or larger ball? Let me see. This is the small ball, and then we'll need this graph. Okay, let's do it. Okay, at first I'll briefly go through this ball experiment. Okay, small ball experiment. Whenever you click that play and pause button, you can see that how the ball is moving. It's falling. Sorry. Let me do it again. Okay. Now the question is, we have to analyze displacement versus time graph. But as you can see here, this is your velocity. So click it here, okay, and then click Y. That is your vertical displacement. You can see here, if you get confused, at first it was By like that. So you can make it Y, okay? And then you can find all those values here. At different time, you have vertical displacement, vertical velocity, and vertical acceleration. And you do a vertical displacement versus time graph. You can see that from Y versus T graph, as time is increasing, your vertical displacement is decreasing, and from the shape of the graph, you can think this is the parabolic graph. Parabolic graph. Okay, now let's go back to the first question. Sorry. Okay. So we observed the graph. And then what can you say about the vertical displacement of the small ball? So over the time, vertical displacement is decreasing parabolically, okay? And the shape of the graph is parabolic. Let me write those things, okay? The only thing unite. So whenever we observe through the graph, so this is your time, Y, and then this is approximate graph, okay? So shape is parabolic, and then it's decreasing. First step, vertical displacement decreasing. I'll write just like vertical decreasing over period of time parabolically. Since, and what does this shape tell you about the mathematical, what does this shape, that is parabolic? Same, the second part, parabolic, I'll write like that, parabolic. Third one is, what does this shape tell you about the mathematical relationship between Y and T? So Y is directly proportional to negative T square. So we should have that relationship. So that is all about part B. Let's go to the next question. Okay, now observe velocity versus time graph, okay? Vertical velocity. Now, what do you observe about vertical velocity of the ball? And then again, you have to write the mathematical relationship. Okay, let's go back. Again, I'll minimize this. Keep it. Let's go back. So this one is vertical displacement. I'll change that to velocity, vertical velocity. And we can see that the graph is almost linear. You can see that graph is almost linear. So let's go back again and answer that question again here. Okay, now what do you observe about the velocity of the ball? So velocity is decreasing. There is velocity decreasing over the time, but this time linearly, okay, not parabolically. Mathematical relationship is vertical velocity is directly proportional to negative time. So that means whenever time increases, velocity is decreases. Negative slope. So that is about part C. And let's go to the part D. Now switch over the large ball drop, okay? And then let's observe the graph of vertical displacement as well as vertical velocity using the same process you did for the small bird. What can you say about the vertical displacement and velocity of the large ball? Okay, let's go back to the question. Now we are moving to large ball, okay? This one is small ball, this is your large ball. Okay, then let me, okay, this is the large ball. So you can see here, vertical displacement versus time graph. This is a parabolic shape, exactly same as small ball. And now let me replace y with Vy. And this is a linear. So we did not see anything difference, okay? So all the mathematical relationship for small ball and large balls are same. So you can write that. So we didn't see any difference. What can you say about the vertical displacement and velocity of the large ball? That means the vertical displacement and velocity of large ball follow the, I'll say, let me think about it. The vertical displacement and velocity of large ball as, I'll write as, let me, as same relationship, same mathematical relationship as a small ball. And you can write in your own word, okay? Same. You can write in that way. That means velocity versus time graph and vertical displacement versus time graph are similar. Now let's move to next one. Now in part E, we have to calculate, let me see. Yes, in part E, we have to calculate vertical displacement and we have to answer the question, which ball drop faster during the first second of the ball. Let's calculate vertical displacement, no, vertical velocity. So vertical velocity definition, I'll write definition, okay? Del V is your del Y over del T. That is your final velocity minus final displacement minus initial displacement and then time. So in that case, -5 minus, so this is just 0, 0. So it just becomes -5.039 over -4.81. Oops, sorry. But this time is your 1 only, sorry. Erase that part. Sorry for that. Erase. Okay. My pen. That is just 1 meter per second. So it will nearly becomes -5.04 meter per second. If I round it to 3 significant digits. So -5.04 meter per second. And for large ball is negative. You can calculate in the same way. It's -4.81 meter per second. Okay. In that way, you can calculate vertical velocity. But in comment, which balls drop faster during the first second of the ball? You can see here, vertical displacement of small ball is large. So that means small balls drops faster during the first second of the ball. So which ball? You can see here, small ball. Because its vertical velocity is larger. That negative means it's falling down. Okay, if we are throwing up, that would be positive. Let's go to the next problem. And part F, for both tracker experiment, calculate the average vertical oscillation. So this time we have to calculate average vertical oscillation, and then round your result to 3 significant figures. Okay, we'll do that one. Let's go to the comment section. How does the average acceleration of the two ball compare to the theoretical value of negative 9.81 meter per second? Okay. And then how do the acceleration of the two balls compare to each other? You have to answer that question. Let's calculate vertical acceleration. So vertical acceleration is your del V over del T. That is your final, I'll write V2 is your final velocity, initial velocity T2 minus T1. Let's calculate for a small ball at first. Small ball, that is your final velocity is negative 9.61 minus initial velocity negative 1.32. Time is your 1.00 minus 0.10. So in that way, you'll find your vertical acceleration. Let me calculate that value. Sorry. Calculator. Okay. So that becomes negative 9.61 plus 1.32, and then V2 minus V1. Yep, I'm doing everything correct, I think. And then 1, that is just 0.90. Okay. Let me think about it. Initial vertical velocity, final time T time 10. So I got around negative 12 point something here. 12.14 meter per second square. Okay. Okay. And then similarly, you can calculate vertical acceleration for large ball. Okay, using exactly same approximation. And then as you can see that, so I put negative sign at the end because it's falling down. Okay. And then how does the average acceleration of the two ball compare to the theoretical value of negative 9.81 meter per second square? So you can see that we got a different result, and then it was expected to have negative 9.81 meter per second square. So in your last part, part G, you have to explain why the vertical acceleration is different than the theoretical acceleration due to gravity, negative 9.81 meter per second square. And then another question is, what can you say about your earlier prediction? Which ball will land first? Okay. And then if your hypothesis was wrong, can you propose an alternative rationale for the observed results? To answer those parts. So here you can think about drag. Okay. You can think about drag or air friction, and due to the air friction, the vertical acceleration values are not equal to the theoretical acceleration due to gravity. So you can explain the concept of drag due to air, and then how this drags makes the difference whenever we calculate vertical acceleration. You can explain those things. And then second, explain your hypothesis. Explain your hypothesis. If you have to propose alternate rationale for the observed results, you can explain that on that second part. Because whatever hypothesis you made in the beginning, maybe now you want to change that. So that is all about that part B. So after that, let me go to the next slide. So after that, you can finalize your assignment and submit for grading. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask me. Thank you everybody for watching this recording. Have a great day.